Good morning, class 11. In the last session, I was discussing with you the postulates given by Niels Bohr to describe his model, and I hope you people have revised those postulates and you are thorough with those postulates. I'm again doing a small recap with you. If you remember, children, I discussed the postulates wherein the most important one is this, the second one, which says that the orbits have fixed energy and fixed velocity, and then I calculated the values also for you, and the orbits are fixed. Okay, they do not change their position. Then I discussed with you the quantization condition, which says that only the electrons can exist only in those orbits which have the value of their angular momentum equal to nh upon 2 pi, where n is the shell number, which is an integer 1 2 3 4 anything. Then there is a balancing force due to which the position of orbital doesn't change, which says that centripetal force is equal to electrostatic force of attraction. Then while revolving, the electron neither lose nor gain energy. That is why the orbits are referred to as stationary energy levels. Now then next is the value of Bohr's radius, which is 0.53 n square upon z angstrom. And then next is the value of Bohr's velocity, which is equal to 2.18 into 10 raised to the power 6 z upon m meter per second. And the total energy and the energy concept, these things were discussed with you. And then these values I told you to remember if you can. And the most important thing to remember is this: the energy goes on increasing as the electron moves further from the nucleus, and the maximum energy of an electron in the atom is 0, where the value of n becomes infinity. Okay. Now another ninth postulate is electron can accept energy and can lose energy. If an electron accepts energy and jumps to higher energy level, or if it loses energy, then it leads to de-excitation. Okay, now what does it mean? Please listen to what I am telling you here. Actually, when an electron is present in suppose this is the nucleus, and these are the various energy levels. These are the various energy levels. And an electron is present in this shell, and if you are providing energy to this electron, it will, on gaining energy, it will move to higher energy levels. Okay, it will move to higher energy levels. This process is known as excitation. Electron jumping to higher energy levels, or the orbits are also referred to as energy levels. This is known as excitation process. And electron coming back to its previous or the ground level is known as de-excitation. So basically what is important here in this postulate is an electron doesn't change its position in an orbit unless energy is provided to an atom, or energy in is somehow extracted out of the atom. So only in these two conditions an electron can change its position. Now see the next concept, what Bohr did to study atomic spectra, which was again another failure of Rutherford's model. What did he do? He took hydrogen gas in a container like this and passed white light through it. And then what did he observe? He observed that a band of colors were obtained on the screen. But these band of colors were not continuous like Vibgyor. What did he observe? He observed that few colors were missing from it. Like here you can see, for example, this yellow, red and orange is there. Rest of the colors are missing. Okay, this type of spectra is known as line spectra or discrete spectra. Okay, again coming to this topic only, atomic spectra, to explain you this. First of all, observe this, children. There are various energy levels mentioned in this figure. First is n equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. The first one is known as ground state, and above it are known as excited state. Now we are going to study the detail of discrete or the line spectra, which was a remarkable observation of Bohr. Very important observation from Bohr, because this observation gave rise to the concept of spectra in chemistry. Okay, and this type of spectra is not the continuous one which you study in electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic spectrum, where you observe that white light when passed through prism get dispersed and then forms a spectrum of 7 colors Vibgyor. It is not like that. Here you'll study something different. You'll study about discrete or the line spectra. So basically what happens on gaining energy, an electron jumps to higher energy level, but it has a tendency to remain in the lowest energy level because stability is inversely proportional to energy. Stability is inversely proportional to energy. What does it mean? It means that when the energy level is high, the stability will be low. When the energy level is high, the stability will be low of any system. Whenever your energy is high, your stability will be low. For example, when you get money or pocket money from your parent, what happens? You become excited. Your state possess high energy. You want to go out of the house and spend it somehow with your friends, and then again that means your energy is high and stability is low. But the moment your pocket money finishes, again you come back to home, and at that time your energy is low and your stability is high. So energy is inversely proportional to stability. Our system in high energy state is never stable, and every system has a tendency to come back to its stable state. Okay, that means by losing energy it has a tendency to come back to its stable state. Similarly, when an electron jumps to higher energy level, it has a tendency to come back to its ground state by losing energy. So this is what happens in case of electron also. When energy is supplied from outside to the electron, it moves to higher energy level, and then it has a tendency to lose that energy and again come back to the ground state. The energy which is absorbed by the electron helps it to go to the higher or excited state, but that same energy is lost by the electron in the form of radiation or electromagnetic waves, and this is known as emission spectra. Understood? So when electron returns back, it emits out the absorbed energy in the form of electromagnetic waves or radiations, and it is known as emission spectrum. So you can say that the difference between the two energy, delta E, is equal to E final minus E initial, and this is equal to, if you remember from Planck's quantum theory, hc upon lambda. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now let's see a question. The question is, an electron in hydrogen atom jumps from n equals to 2 to n equals to 1. Find the energy and wavelength of the emitted radiation. Very important question. It will lead to explanation of the new concept also. An electron jumps from n equals to 2 to n equals to 1. Find the energy and the wavelength of the emitted radiation. So here children, delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. This you know. And we know that the energy of nth shell is given by this formula. So by substituting the value of n here, you'll get the value of E1 and E2. Now by subtracting the two energies, you will get the energy. Find the energy of the emitted radiation. You'll get the energy of the emitted radiation as 10.2 electron volt. I hope this is clear. These are the recently studied formulas, and by substituting the values, you are getting these two values, and then substitute the values here, you'll get the energy of the radiation. Now next is to find out the wavelength. Now we know the formula from Planck's quantum theory, that E is equal to hc upon lambda. Again, when you substitute the values of h here, c here, and energy here, you'll get the answer. Now here the problem which you'll face in solving this question is, the energy is given in electron volt, whereas this Planck's constant is in joule second. So you'll have to carry out this conversion. You know that 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 raised to power minus 19 joule. This will be probably given in the question, question itself. If it is not given, then children, you have to remember. So by substituting the values, you'll get the, I've not solved it, I've just reached to the final stage. You can calculate and get the answer. Now here is a shortcut also. This is important. Shortcut is, these are again constant, you know, HC is again constant. So by substituting the value of H and C, you will get the value as 12375, and the formula will get modified as E equals to 12375 upon lambda. Now by simply substituting the value of E, you can get the value of lambda, and the best thing is the value you'll get is in angstrom. Okay, you don't need to do any conversion in this case, if you are using this formula. So this is just a shortcut to help you out in solving the numerical. Otherwise you can follow this path, this these complete steps that I have mentioned here. Okay, now from here you are again going to see another very important formula. If electron jumps from n equals to n2 to n equals to n1, then it can be written like this. Okay, for delta E, you know that from Planck's quantum theory, the value of delta is equal to hc upon lambda, and if you substitute the value of energies in nth level, you reach to these two formulas. Please pay attention, children. All the formulas are previously done. If you have not seen the previous videos, obviously you will find difficulty in solving these. So please go and watch those videos and then you can do it. And please children, assure that you are also copying down the notes along with me. Pause the video and do it. So hc upon lambda, delta is equal to hc upon lambda, and then you substitute the values here. Then 13.6 Z, these two are constant, so it is taken out from this. So now you will get hc upon lambda equals to 13.6 Z square into 1 upon n1 ka square minus 1 upon n2 ka square. Now again you know that we are getting one more constant here, except for Z. 13.6 upon hc is a constant. Why I took Z square here as common? Because for a particular atom this Z will remain constant, but when you are formulating or making the formula in general, then you have to omit out this. Why? Because the Z will change for different atom, will be different for different atoms. Now when you substitute the values here and solve it, you will get another constant known as R. Okay, and before reaching out to this step, one thing more that you need to do, you can see here hc I have shifted here, hc has gone here, and then you got 1 upon lambda is equal to 13.6 upon hc into Z square and this. Okay, so this, first of all you need to note it as 13.6 upon hc. This corresponds to R. This value I have written here, R is equal to 13.6 upon hc, and this is known as Rydberg's constant. This is what? This is Rydberg's constant. And then when you put the values of H, that is Planck's constant, C as 3 into 10 raised to the power 8, you will get the value of Rydberg constant as 109 into 10 raised to the power minus 7 meter inverse. This is the value of Rydberg constant. No need to learn it, children. It will be given to you in the question. So the formula gets modified as 1 upon lambda is equal to RZ square 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. Now this formula can directly help you to calculate the value of lambda when you have the value of n1 and n2. A very important formula. This is known as Rydberg's equation, and this constant is known as Rydberg's constant. And 1 upon lambda is also known as wave number. 1 upon lambda is also known as wave number. So at times in the question you might get the question in the form of wave number to find out the wave number. So in place of 1 upon lambda, what will you substitute? You will substitute this value of wave number. So wave number is equal to RZ square into 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. So this is it for today. You have studied a number of new concepts. You learnt about atomic spectra. So basically children, what is atomic spectra? Atomic spectra or the emission spectra that you did today is what? When electron is accepting energy and moving to higher energy levels, that is excited state, then it is not stable. So it has a tendency to come back to the ground state by emitting out that energy in the form of radiation, and that radiation which it emits out is known as emission spectra. Okay, so the same thing is utilized here also, where you have seen this diagram. When white light is passed through hydrogen gas, then hydrogen gas absorbs some of the portion of the white light. Okay, basically when the light interacts with matter, this is white light is the light and hydrogen is the matter. When white light interacts with matter, we get spectra. So what happens when white light is passed through hydrogen gas, it absorbs few of the portion of the white light and emits only the one which is not absorbed, and this type of spectra is known as line spectra or the line spectra or discrete spectra. And this is known as discrete because it is not continuous. It does not have all these 7 colors in it, or those Vibgyor. It has only few color, and such a spectra is known as discrete spectra. I hope this spectrum is clear. Emission spectrum is clear to you. What is the emission spectrum? And then this equation, the equation that I told you at last, that is 1 upon lambda is equal to rz square upon 1 into 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. You get the numericals based on this equation, and you have a number of numericals based on this equation in your NCERT also. So please practice these questions, children. Please practice the derivations that I have taught you today. Okay, thank you for watching the video. Take care.